Maybe we should start off for anyone who's kind of newer to the Jupyter ecosystem, talking about some of the intentions, and then we can talk about the retrospective.
This week is important because we're talking about the RVG retrospect. We'll be doing this space, and then we'll be doing a Twitter space later, and then we'll also be doing an essay, right, to kind of go through a lot of the thinking behind RVG as a general guideline. We started RVG like late last year, the very late last year, and early this year to help facilitate the Jupe launch. And our thing is that we really wanted to solve some key problems, right? Number one, we wanted to completely remove the opacity, behind the launching, right? And we want to make it about something that the whole community gets involved. We want to create a system where instead of it just about token launch, it's about community building for the project. We want to remove the adverse relationship between the initial buyers and the later buyers. And that's the reason why instead of just launching Jupe, we actually built a launch pad to launch Jupe.
Let's talk about what went well with the LFG Launchpad over the past few months.
I think lots of things went well, actually. I think we had some like really good projects launching. We actually did do the first decentralized launchpad, and we got the largest DAO in the world to support it. Any project that came into the process, they gained a big community and big audience. I don't think any other launchpad had such a big amount of community feedback. So I think at RG we innovated a lot in terms of community building, in terms of like a decentralized approach to selecting a project. So I feel like all those things were really good experiments.
But in any experiment, you learn some things. Some things work, some things are good, some things are maybe not as good. So how do you think about that? Like what was the not so good? What can we improve going forward from the LFG perspective?
First and most important thing was the expectations. I think there's actually a really high expectation from both the community of the project and the project from community, right? And secondly is that I think the process was like pretty slow, right? And it wasn't as regular as we wanted. In a world where 20,000 tokens launch every day, I think that became too slow. Also, the other big problem was that projects needed more certainty, right? They didn't know that they can launch at the current day, whereas it wasn't always possible for us to do that because of the LVG process. So I think all in all, I feel like the big thing for us is, hey, how do we kind of like take all the key learnings that we have around mechanism and ideas and everything, right? And translate that into a V2 process.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Like, knowing what worked well, knowing what maybe didn't work as well, what can you say about the V2 and how it might address some of those problems that we discovered?
So basically, there'll be no more voting. So the voting, as we know now, will be gone. Make RVG a platform that any project can use, firstly. And secondly is that we actually built a lot of world-class tools. The locking tool, the airdrop tool. I think all these things are actually really great for projects. And how do we kind of put them all right in one platform that any project can use, right? So I think that's actually one big thing we're doing for RGB2. And again, CAT is not something. I think CAT is actually really important, right? Certainty and alignment, transparency. I think the whole point here is not to actually try to say which teams have CAT, right? But it's actually much more around like giving them the tools to prove it.
And so can we talk a little bit about this last point here, allowing the community to figure out which projects they want to promote?
So this is actually a really big point, by the way. One major thing that happened, right, between the first RG and now is that we actually have a really big community now. We have something called Uplink Group, we have something called the CWG, we have Jupe and Juice, we have the cadets, right, that can actually decide, right, what projects they want to be part of, right, and promote. So I think that's actually a really big deal for me, right? So instead of having the entire community and the team come together to put their weight behind one project, like for 2 months, it becomes something that, hey, you know what, how can the community themselves, take a very big role, in terms of pushing Disney forward.
The next era of LFG is on the way, folks. We fucked around, we found out, learned some things, and now the next era begins.